there's a big reason why there's not a lot of creative people in the military. It is simply because, in boot camp we're taught to just do as we're told, right? That's where people are made to follow orders. People are made to do the things that they don't like, or and do it in the most efficient way possible. That's basically kind of like what the military wants from someone, is to enlist, to give their time and service to the cause, the mission, and eventually nothing else, because that's all that matters. And when I'm talking about boredom overall, it's one of those things that has been the hardest challenge for me, at least in the military, or like probably get like another 9 to 5 job, simply because I grew up so like so distant out of it. I nullified it so much in in my childhood, in my teenage years. Boredom for me was almost like non-existent. It was only for me when I was without a phone, without anything else, that I would actually sit back down and start like becoming agitated, become like anxious, be like, oh my gosh, what should I do? I don't have this, I don't have that, right? And I didn't go out, and I didn't do anything else. Instead, what I did was just turn on the TV. And this is not for everyone who has like parents who usually don't take people out or whatever. And but me in this case, I didn't have a family that took me out much. Like we didn't go many places, many things. So most of my life was after school or whatever. I would just do my chores and play video games, and then sometimes maybe like go out or something like that. So I was never like an adventure type, simply because deep down I believe that I'm still very like, boredom for me is like torture. I'm being dead ass. Like I've made boredom into a tool for torture. And I know it's kind of crazy to say that, but the more I think about it, the more I realize how much of that thing that I called like boredom is actually just emptiness, and it's actually kind of like your way of like your brain telling you to like consolidate memories, think about other people, right? Not just like everyday life. You have to be constantly doing something that is promoting something and something etc., right? And so I've realized that all of my boredom is really negative. I will say almost extremely negative. Simply because you come back to reality after work and you're like, oh, I'm tired, I'm this, I'm that, I need to work, I need to do this. But you are still there, coming from an AI, right? Artificial intelligence, right? That comes out with the algorithms and all the freaking, what was it? Like all those things, especially like smartphones and tablets, right? All those things that fill up boredom like a motherfucker. I've and new questions he asked, like, what has fundamentally changed the world for the worse? But us humans, we're the human. We consume shit, right? We live here in this world. We're not fucking AI. We haven't realized, and the AI says the answer is the collapse of unstructured time, and specifically what smartphones and algorithmic feeds have done to boredom. Sounds very familiar, right? Let me give you an example of how I noticed this when I was growing up. And I felt really bad about it. I was honestly angry towards my mom for every time giving my little brother the smartphone, the tablet, to play games or do some other stupid shit on it. Besides just doing that, just to get him like to stop being such a little fucking like angry guy, like agitated, getting angry, sad, or whatever, simply because he was like he was not given, because he was bored basically. Like sit down and eat. To put on the tablet. And I was just 11 when I noticed that, and I find it really interesting because like once like he stopped, like my mom stopped putting those videos, he will get angry, agitated, because the entertainment was gone. His one thing he liked more than eating was watching those videos. Sometimes he even will like start crying And that kept happening and happening, and eventually got worse because my mom, all she did was give her like a smartphone or tablet. And this is very scary because like many people in our like age, like, you know, like 2005, 2006, grew up with tablets, smartphones, and we're starting to see like the fruits of it. We're starting to see the fruits of what like killing boredom has like really done to us. It's made us very like one-sided towards like the world views and everything, because we are filling up like that time that we should have in our heads to think about other people, to form empathy, right? Like the quote from like the AI says this, like straight up. It says, "For the vast majority of human history, boredom was a problem was not a problem to be solved. It was a cognitive state that forced the brain to a mode we now call the default mode network, a kind of mental background processing where you consolidate memories, develop empathy by imagining other people's lives, generate creative ideas, and build coherent sense of self. When you stare out a window, when you go on a bus, or sat down quality like after dinner, right? Your brain was basically going over like what happened throughout the day, what has changed, what has not. Like in a real sense, boredom was where you will look at other people, look outside, look at nature, look at something else, and think like, it is part of being creative. That's what I've been trying to do. Maybe that's what I've also been trying to kill, is my fear of boredom, is my anxiety of being empty, of being like bored after work, after all that, because it has gravely affected me. It has greatly affected me, my ability to make videos, to think, and I'm someone who's hard on to believe that all of this is just a probable cause from the growing up with the internet and using it just as a form of entertainment. Don't get me wrong, internet is fucking great. Everywhere this and there, you know. But the way it was used it's more harmful than humans than other people use it for. It was just other things, like, you know, like making money, developing stuff. And let me tell you another story, right? And my brother, you know, he turns 5. He still watches like those Brain Rock Kid videos, you know, you like moved on now. It's like nursery rhymes, you know, all of that. And you go into like Spider-Man and stuff, and you know, it's the same story again. He will get angry. He will not play with his toys. He will actually have a shit ton of toys that we just buy. Be like, oh my god, new toy! And he will play for like 3 days and leave it alone. I, instead, when I was growing up, I didn't have a tablet. I didn't have a phone, right? I will get a toy. I will play with that motherfucker until it broke. And he just did it for like a few days, and I was like, why? Like this fucking toy is so cool. Like I would have like played with that toy like for so long till like fucking broke it or something and got bored of it, but it will take me like weeks, not just like days. And even then, like, you know, even in TV, right? You remember like they at least had like commercial breaks. In those commercial breaks, you were either like go out and eat a snack, or go out and talk to someone with a friend. Like, oh my gosh, this episode was so great. Like we're essentially killing boredom, and we're eventually kind of like killing ourselves, our sense of creativity, our sense of self, simply because we cannot fathom, we cannot challenge ourselves to just accept boredom as part of something you need to like you need boredom to do creative thing. You need boredom to actually think and, you know, create ideas. What is now like the primary thing that people are mostly hanging up on is hate. People hate each other simply because it's easier to hate now than it ever was before. Simply, you also go to social media, post, hate this, hate that, and essentially everyone would just hop in just for the emotional feel of it, simply because they're bored, because they're living their lives that they don't want to like fulfill. They cannot fathom the fact, so they cope by feeling that emptiness, that feeling that boredom with things that are given essentially just a short-term pleasure. It's the dumbest thing you can do. It's when I was growing up, I remember all the people that used to like me for no reason. I did as do. Now I was like maybe like 5, like 9 and 10. I always wonder like why people that you just met, right, and they don't like you. Like where does that emotion even stem from? Like, was it not easy to think like maybe this guy's some nice guy? Maybe he's just a bad day. Maybe it's just nothing. Like boredom allows those thoughts rise to feel empathy. You see my example, right? Like imagine like that's beyond being dumb. It's being ignorant. That's like there's no cure for that. If you don't like sit them down without an empty room, put someone in an empty room in a cave somewhere without any of that, it will start thinking, right? And if a lot of people were like this, then the world probably would be a better place because no longer they would just stop at one emotional roller coaster right on with it. They would actually like it's like they would like boredom forces them to stop and actually think of other people in a deeper level, to think of other people like in themselves, generate other opinions, other ideas like opposite from what they've been thought outside. You know, that's where it starts in boredom. This is Andres. Hope you like this video.